What's going on, party people, and welcome to Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnauts. Today is Saturday, February 6th, 2021, and coming up on today's show, Google Stadia has shut down their internal game studios. Ooh, who didn't see that one coming? Embracer Group is acquiring Gearbox. And last but not least, there are new details on Mass Effect Legendary Edition. We'll get to all of that and more in just a sec. My name is Kyle Springer, and I am joined, as always, by Ignacio Rojas.
Hey, yo.
And Gino Viteri.
What's up, my good friends?
And Alan Busby.
Hello, I'm back from the dead from dying in Demon Souls.
Oh.
There you go. Resurrected. Just to podcast with us here.
Phantom, you've died. You must return to the Nexus.
Indeed.
You must go back to the bonfire.
The first time I died in Demon Souls, the whole game uninstalled. I don't know how that happened.
Wow.
You raged quit that bad. He was just like, just uninstall it.
The game knew you weren't going to be able to do it, so I was like, I'm just going to install them. I'm just going to see myself out.
Yeah, I mean, that was good of them to do such a thing. So, good for me.
Good stuff. How are you guys doing? What's been going on in the world of you guys?
It's snowing. It sucks. It's cold outside.
It's still snowing.
Yeah, I saw you in the Discord, Alan, saying that you wanted to get some food, but
I did. It
was Kyle's comment was funny because he was like, "Have you ever heard of cooking?"
Yeah. You know what? So the funny story about that really quick is like I went out that morning to go get fast food instead of going to the store because I was lazy and I was not feeling the store.
What fast food before you?
I got McDonald's because it's like right next to where I live. I know it's right next to where I live.
That's true. I have one right next to me.
And so I got hungry later on. You know, now it's been like 6 hours. So I was like, well, shit, I gotta go get food again. And I wanted fast food. I was like, damn, but it was so cold this morning and it was still snowing. So I looked outside and there was snow on my car again. I was like, dude, I don't want to do this again. So then I was kind of stuck of like, I'm hungry, my stomach's growling, but I need food, but I want to brush my car off and I want to drive anywhere because the roads suck. Yeah. And you would think I'd cook, but in a past experience, spoiler here, without explaining it, I burned broccoli and also ruined a pan.
Oh man.
So I don't actually have a normal actual saucepan to make food in, except we have like the really, really tiny pan that you can barely fit 2 cups of water in. And I made pasta in that pan and I had
the egg one.
Pretty much. So I had to constantly keep stirring pasta so the milk and stuff wouldn't boil over the edge of this pan because the pan was so small. But I made pasta, so we survived.
You said milk? You put milk in the pot with the pasta?
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
It's box pasta. You know, I didn't go to the store to make stuff to make homemade pasta. I bought the box pasta, so it requires milk.
Were you just making pasta, or was it?
It was just pasta.
And you put milk on it.
Yes.
With sauce, though? You made some sort of sauce?
No, I told you it's the box pasta.
Yeah, because if you were making
packet.
There are some sauces
you keep
that
saying
you would
pasta, but you're not saying like what was this mac and cheese? Was this spaghetti? Was this
what is it?
It was broccoli cheddar pasta.
Wait.
See,
okay.
That's what I was saying. Like milk would go good with some like cheesy pasta.
Yeah,
broccoli cheddar.
You just use water.
Hold on.
I mean, if you're making just straight up pasta, you just need water and salt. But if you're making some sauce, then you would add.
Yeah, that part wasn't important. The important part was I needed some food.
No, hold on, that part
survive.
is important, Alan. So you're getting us all riled up here. Is this craft or something? Because when you say pasta, there's bow tie pasta, there's rigatoni, there's spaghetti. Like, what did you have? You had macaroni.
Is it from scratch or from a box?
It's kind of like spiral shell pasta. It's not pastaroni. It's not the pastaroni brand.
Then. This is Kraft.
No, it's not Kraft. It comes in the little. It comes in the bag.
But are we talking about just the pasta, scratch pasta
brands?
No, this is not scratch pasta. This is not scratch pasta.
Yeah, it's not scratch pasta. It's from a box.
Okay.
Anyways,
and the box says milk.
Okay, all the ingredients was 1/3 cup of water, 1 tablespoon of butter, 1/3 a cup of milk.
Okay.
The noodles.
Yeah.
And the pasta sauce packet thing. That's it.
Welcome to Cooking with Crossplay, the new podcast within a podcast here at Crossplay, our video game podcast here at the Whatnauts.
Yes,
we did it.
Yeah, at that point, it does make sense that you put milk on it. But if it was just raw pasta, that would be weird.
Sounds
good.
End
of the story. I survived, guys. I made food.
Good for you.
Nice.
Glad you could be here and do all of that stuff. Let's we're maybe a little bit crunched for time, so let's dive right into all the stuff we've been playing this week. Ignacio, let's start with you.
Which one do you want me to start with? I guess I'll start with the first one.
No, you gotta start with Ignacio. Start with the bad one.
Yeah.
Okay. Which one would that be?
The first one.
No, I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
Scathing reviews.
Wow.
I'm just kidding. The other one isn't bad. I'll start with Borderlands Wonderworld demo.
Oh God.
So if you have been paying attention to the internet, you would have seen how everyone was sucking shit about the Borderlands Wonderworld demo. And I gotta say, they are right.
Kyle, is there any way you can splice in the clip of last week where I said I'm excited to play the Borderlands Wonderworld demo? You should splice that in and just right during this where I said I was excited for it, because that demo was fucking terrible.
Dude, can you guys believe
so Alan,
that's what
I almost had this on my fantasy draft.
Dude.
Oh, you touched a bullet there. Okay, so Borderlands Wonderworld, if you don't know, it's a game made by, I think, Capcom. It's meant to be a platformer akin to Yooka-Laylee. It gives me vibes of. It's a 3D platformer with worlds and stuff like that. Sonic Adventure, I think, would be another inspiration. And I think I think it is made by people that made Sonic Adventures.
I'm wondering. I've heard something.
I think you're wrong. It's Square Enix.
Oh, Square Enix. Yeah, I knew it was someone big.
Square Enix, but it's made from people that made the Sonic games.
Yeah. Okay. So, like I said, it is a 3D platformer, and if you watch the trailer, which I actually did, the game kind of looks good, to be honest.
It did.
Watching it gave me a lot of vibes of Mario 3D World. Like, it looked good, but actually playing it, I have to say that game is bad. It's bad in so many levels. It's bad technically, visually, what's in there, the decisions they made with the gameplay, how it runs. Yeah. So
don't you guys love how when you look at the control setup and every button does the same damn thing?
Yeah, I was.
Every fucking button jumps.
Yeah, every button jumps except for the shoulder buttons.
God.
So the main mechanic of the game is jumping. If you have noticed. So X jumps, square jumps, triangle jumps.
Jump around.
Dude.
Get up.
The triggers, you jump with the triggers also. Everything is jumped. So you don't really have a regular attack.
Oh my God.
So the main mechanic
killing enemies is like stupid.
Yeah, so the main mechanic of the game is that you pick up power-ups that are scattered around the world. Well, you actually don't pick them up. You have to pick up some keys first to unlock the powers to actually then get them. The powers are somewhat varied. For example, you have one that is when you jump, you create a tornado. There's one that if you jump, you can hover in the air a bit. There's one that you elongate up, and like that you can jump to higher places and stuff like that. But again, the game is so bad in so many ways. The level design isn't that interesting, and sometimes it can hurt looking at it, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
Because technically the game is also bad. Turning the camera around did bother me a lot.
It doesn't even feel good to move around. Like, you would think getting another costume or quote power-up would feel like exciting, but they all feel like, oh, really? And the fact is, it's so minor, but like, even if you want to test them out, you have to wait through this short little animation of standing still to switch between your costumes every time to shuffle through them, and it's so dumb.
Yep. So the game looks bad, and you get the powers which you are supposed to also. Like I said, you cannot punch, so you would have to use the jump abilities to destroy enemies. And so like that, it is already a bit awkward when you actually try to kill an enemy. That being said, you don't have many enemies that you have to kill. Like there are scattered around the level, there are many. There are barely a couple. I only encountered a group of little enemies that I had to hit. Other than that, the levels themselves are a bit empty on that aspect.
Yeah, like there's no real enemies, so your other factor would be like exploring and looking for collectibles, but even then that doesn't really feel very rewarding. Like you find it and it just feels like, oh, this was just here.
Yeah. And also the game looks like if someone on their spare time decided to make a game on Unity. Like it's that bad looking. And another problem that it has technically is that
that's rough.
Instead of it having like characters disappear when you get further away from them. What was the action? I forgot how it's called. But here instead, if you get close to them, they disappear.
Dude.
That's so funny.
Ignacio,
so
did
you walk up to go talk with them and they're just like, oh, they're not there anymore? What?
Yeah,
what's that called?
So it'll be like
the
animals that represent the powers you're gonna get, and they're just kind of scattered throughout the level in areas just dancing.
Mm-hmm.
But if you walk up to them, they become ethereal. Like they just kind of they fade out of existence until you get far enough away, then they fade back in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that makes me think there's some kind of gameplay mechanic that will come into play later on. Like you have to unlock something and then they'll be there. But I don't know.
With this game coming out at like the end of March as well, I don't really see how this game could how it could fix itself.
Yeah.
That's disappointing because I know a lot of people were excited.
Dude, even I was excited because like Ignacio said, the trailers look good. Like I'm looking at the website page for Balan Wonderworld and like it looks artistic, it looks cool, but then you play it and it's not.
Yeah. Also, there's this farmer that appears in the levels, but if you get close to him, he just disappears. Again,
it's part of the story.
The farmer is indeed part of the story.
The story seems like it's so, like, I mean, no offense, it seems so lame. You save the farmer, and it's this very awkward, uninspired, just lame, no voiced cutscene, and it's like, okay.
Well, the one good thing of the game is the cutscenes. I actually think that the cutscenes look incredibly for the level of unpolished that the game is. The cutscenes are incredibly well looking. Even to the point that for whatever reason, it seems like they put all of their efforts in their cutscenes to the point that at the beginning of the game, you can choose between not only male or female, but there are also different character models for male, but different skin tones, and female with different skin tones. And they all get their own opening cutscene.
Oh, wow.
Like when you start the game, there's an opening cutscene pre-rendered that has your character, the one that you picked in it. And so they have one for each character. It's the same cutscene, but your character is different depending on who you chose.
That's cool.
And they are pre-rendered. It's not like they put it in there. They just switch the model. They have different cutscenes.
Yeah.
It's so weird.
Wild.
Yeah.
Wild. Well.
And again, the farmer is one of the weirdest things because the farmer is there. They don't explain to you why he's there. And if you get close to him, again, like everything, it disappears. But then you fight a final boss, and when you defeat him, you get a cutscene that shows a farmer doing different things, and bad things happened, but now everything's good. And then they play a cutscene where everyone's dancing for no reason.
Wild.
Yeah,
Well,
I don't have much else to say on Borderlands.
Yeah.
I was excited and I played it and it didn't even disappoint. It killed any excitement I had for the game. Like now I just don't even want to like acknowledge it.
Yeah.
well, how about Destruction All Stars?
I joked that it was bad. It isn't bad, but it is kind of to be honest.
Yeah, that's
Not all you were
Destruction
hoping for.
All Stars is perfectly described as a good PS Plus game.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
But controls in there too, and that's way better than good.
Yeah,
So,
but yeah.
as obviously we all remember, they were gonna sell Destruction All Stars at launch for $70.
70.
That would not have worked at all. It would have been a huge disappointment. So I'm glad they decided to do it for PS Plus, because it's sort of like a drop in, drop out game. It's not going to stick around long in everybody's minds, I think. So, it's a live service kind of game. I don't know. It's similar to Rocket League. They have the typical skins and the quick matches and all that stuff. So it's fun to play.
What are you doing in the game though? Because that I think was the thing that everyone was wondering. Like, it looks like a battle royale, but it looks like there's twisted metal stuff going on in there.
It is kind of twisted metally. I think that the only interesting the gameplay itself is a bit interesting.
Yeah.
So what you do is that you can either be 1 against the whole world or 8 versus 8, and you get dropped into this level. You then have to get into a car, and depending on the general objective, at the end of the day, what you have to do is knock out your opponents. What that means is that you can either destroy their cars by ramming into them and forcing them to get out of the cars, and then you drive over them to kill them, or you are just you outside of the car running. You can parkour, even you can hijack other cars. And by doing that, you can either wreck them or take over the car. But then when you wreck them and the person gets out of it, you would have to knock them out then.
Yeah. So you can choose from, I think it's 16 different characters. Everyone has
it is a good amount.
Their own specific skills that are unique to them with their cars and when they're on foot. So it's really fun to play. I'll say that, because it's cool that it's similar to Twisted Metal, where each car has its own unique skill, but where it's different is that you can get out of your car and do stuff as well on foot. You have your they're called breakers, which are your specific skill, and some people everyone speeds up and can do a double jump when they have their breaker on, but some people are different, such as I think there's this girl called Hannah that when she turns her breaker on, she can punch people once and it'll kill them automatically. There's someone else that when they turn their breaker on, they run and leave a fire trail behind them.
Yeah.
And it's like a similar breaker to the way their car has a special skill. So it's unique to them. It's fun to play, but it's not. It doesn't have a lot of content per se.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
That's a good way to put it.
I heard someone speculating that they maybe took content out of this for PS Plus so that they could then support it through the next couple months and stuff like that. That was them speculating. So I don't be like, that's a fact. No, who knows? But it's interesting though that they were going.
That
to
would
put
make
this
sense.
Out.
I mean, they could have very well have done that. There are already 4 game modes in it. Maybe they could have taken out the ability to change out the stadiums that you play on. Or maybe, I don't know, character-specific skins could have been something, but
some skins or a character or two, and
there are already a lot of characters, I would say. Like Gino said, maybe around 16, and they all have both their own, like Gino said, their breaker, which is their special skill, and also they all get their own special car that in the same way that you So scattered around the stadium, there are different gems that you can collect when you are on foot, and those all add up to your meter. To which then you could, depending if you are on foot, you can use your special breaker, or you could also summon your own special car, which also has a special ability. Again, the gameplay of it is simple enough that you could see simple enough, and I would say fun enough, maybe, that you could see people getting into it. But I think that maybe it is missing something in there to get it to the level of, say, Rocket League or Fall Guys, to actually hook people to keep playing and to get invested on it. I think that...
How quick are the matches?
They can be like 10 minutes the most.
Yeah, more
Okay,
or
but
less.
that's not bad at all.
I mean, it depends on the game mode. For example, there's a game mode where the whole objective is just knock out the enemy once. If you're knocked out, you are out. And so in there, it's actually my favorite one because it's so fast. In there, you are in like a circular stadium, and the floor starts to disappear. And so the strategy there would be to ram your opponents out of the edge to get them out.
Yeah, think of it like the hexagonal thing in Fall Guys.
And then you have the strategy where you can actually jump out of your car. So if you know that you are heading into the hole, you can jump out of it at the right time to not fall out of it.
I gotcha.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So it would depend on the game mode. It is fun for maybe the first couple of matches that you play. I don't know. It is missing something. I think that there could be a way for it to stay, for people to stay playing it.
Yeah, as long as they keep adding more content and stuff like that. The fun really lies in, this is one of those games where it gets funner the better you get.
Yeah.
Because it's not as satisfying to destroy vehicles as you would think, but it's fun being able to do it. And it's hard in the beginning because you know there's people destroying you left and right, and you're missing. You know, you're not hitting people head on. So when you get better at doing that and then jumping out of your car and messing with people like that, and when you get into the groove of it, it becomes a lot more fun than your first match, let's say.
I gotcha.
Yeah. Also, I only have two real complaints with it. The first one is that when you're on foot, you can actually hijack the cars of the other opponents if you can get on top of them. Yeah. I feel like it might be a bit hard or confusing as to how to get into the opponent's car while they're running. And the other complaint is the complaint that everyone's having, that on the match itself, there's no music. It's just the sound of the cars going and the effects going, but
that's what
there should be some music in there.
Interesting. There you go. Free on PS Plus.
That's also what I've been playing. So.
Okay, good stuff. Well, I got to try out a little bit of The Medium. This is the new Microsoft exclusive, which is available on Game Pass. That's where I played it. We got to stream it this past Wednesday. Ignacio joined me as we did the first hour and a half of that game.
Yeah.
There was definitely a jump scare that got me.
There was definitely one.
Yeah, definitely one. But to be honest, I'm not super impressed with the game. It seemed fine. Like it seemed aggressively fine.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. I think if you're into horror games and you like the Silent Hills, Resident Evil type of stuff, this might be a good throwback. But to someone like me who's not really into horror games, I was just not interested, really. I still think I might play a little bit more just to keep going. Also, because there's not too much that's out right now. So I might keep up with it a little bit longer, but we'll see on that. I do have to say, I think it looks pretty good. I think they use the like stationary camera pretty effectively in the horror genre. Like it felt like I was being watched at times, rather than just like, oh, you know, this is just a camera and that's all it is. It's just like, no, it feels like I'm like someone or something is watching me. So it was pretty creepy in that sense. But beyond that, I really liked the opening credits when those hit. I thought those were also sufficiently just like, ugh, I'm getting like creeped out by all of the stuff that they're doing here. But again, I haven't really gotten too far, so I can't really speak on much of the story or the writing or the acting and stuff like that. So we'll see. Yeah. But yeah, it was fine.
After watching you play for about an hour, what I can say is that the game takes so many inspirations from Resident Evil, the first games, the original ones, and it does so many things similarly to those Resident Evil games that I would say just play Resident Evil.
Interesting, yeah. So I mean, like that's one of the things though. Like, I'm glad this exists because it's on Game Pass. You can check it out. If it's not for you, then it's not for you. But it sits in this like middle category, right? Where it's not a complete like indie game feeling, but it's not that AAA, right? It sits at that like AA, yeah, which I think is largely missing from the game space. So I'm glad something like this exists. But yeah, just not really for me.
It is a fine game for Game Pass.
Yeah, I would agree. Just like Destruction All Stars is good for PlayStation Plus, I think this is good for Game Pass.
Yep.
So there you go.
Nice.
But yeah, that's kind of all I've been playing this week. So Alan, what about you?
Well, I'm only going to mention one game that I played, and we were given a code from Pop Agenda for a game called Nuts. Yes, that is its name.
It's nuts.
It definitely shocks me when it's like, what are you playing? Nuts. Nuts. I actually played that this morning. I binged it and I played it and completed it in one whole session. And it's like, I like the game, but I'm also not a big fan of it at the same time. I feel kind of torn on it. So if you don't,
real fast, I just want to say this was published by Noodle Cake Games.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yeah, because I was gonna say, because it had what is that? It had only a handful of developers, and published by Noodle Cake, and it came out very, very recently. Like, it's very, very new. I played it on the Nintendo Switch, and the game is great. The premise of Nuts is, if you've seen any gameplay of it or trailers or anything else, it's very similar to Firewatch. You're in this kind of abandoned. You're in this forest by yourself. You see no other NPCs. You don't really see yourself. It's just you, and you kind of talk to your boss via phone calls throughout the story. The story is very short. I completed it in just under 4 hours, but it could easily take you a little bit longer than that, depending on, how efficient you are, or even faster than that, depending on how efficient. But the premise is you just graduated, and you're doing this job where you're trying. Apparently, in this world, squirrels are endangered. So your goal is to go to this forest and use surveillance cameras to kind of study the habitat of squirrels, of how they're endangered, because it's alluded to in the game, and this is one weird thing about it. It's alluded to that this company is destroying the habitat of squirrels, and they're trying to cover it up. So they need your research and your photos you take to prove that these squirrels are endangered and their habitat is being destroyed.
Yeah, stick weirdly, it to the man. Down with the corporations,
But the strangest thing about that, though, is that there is actually, it doesn't resolve in the end. Like, the company's mentioned in the later half of the game, but then there's no resolution at the end. It's very weird. Like, the story was great, and I really like kind of the beauty and just kind of you're at peace of just surveillancing squirrels. It's really cool. But the story doesn't really, like, to me, have any real solid conclusion with anything that it kind of brings into it. But that's just the story. The gameplay,
question.
Yes.
So one of the promotional things that Papa Jendis sent us was like some of the artwork, and it looks like there's these nice like purples and muted oranges. Yeah. Like, is that in full display in the artwork?
Yeah. I was gonna mention that. So I looked this up because I couldn't quite figure out exactly what kind of style it has. So the whole game is just pretty much in set colors, and each level is centered around a different theme of colors. The cool thing is, so your general world will have like a color hue, and I'm trying to find it because I looked it up to see exactly what it was. And where is it? Yeah. Everything in the game is modeled in 3D, but it's traced over with a sleek white wireframe and filled in with according to each level's pretty much color. It's 3-ish color palette. So the cool thing about this, and it actually took me a minute to adjust to find out things, anything that either stands out that is somewhat important or that you can interact with is a different color. So like in the first level or in one of the levels, like your whole area will be kind of this like teal, like aqua color, but you'll have like your camera, your radio, and like your equipment, and it's orange. So even if you like go out in the field and lay your camera down and you have to go back out to readjust your camera, you can find it because your little GPS thing will show you where your camera is, but also you'll see it in the field because it will be orange. It'll stick out in the color palette of each level, and it varies per level. So it's really, really cool looking.
It looks beautiful.
I think the colors are really great. I think level 5 probably has like the coolest. It's kind of this like reddish purple like level, and it just looks really, really cool because it's just this big open forest, like a bigger open field. So the art style of the game is really great. How they made it all work and how they make things that are important stand out that you can interact with. It's really cool. But for the gameplay, this is what really sets it apart from Firewatch. So Firewatch, I watched a lot of gameplay on it, and you just kind of run around and kind of explore the world. This one, you're kind of doing a bit more interacting with your environment, where you're meant to, as I said, survey squirrels. So you pretty much get, for quite a while, for the first couple of levels, you only get 2 cameras. So what you do is, you are in this caravan, you get a surveillance camera. You go out in the field, and you're given a marker of where the squirrel's starting location would be, and you set your camera up proportional to either like to capture this area where the squirrel's last to be seen. Then you have to run back to your caravan and then sit down at kind of like the whole setup of like, kind of like how people set up cameras to record stuff during the night. Then you check out the footage the next day to see how it all worked out. And that's pretty much the gameplay. So it'll be like, hey, follow this squirrel and find out where their nest of nuts are and find out what they're doing or where they're hiding at. Like, okay, cool. And the gameplay was really fun, trying to figure out the puzzle of like trying to see where the squirrel goes and how it moves and having to readjust your camera. My only thing that didn't work for me later on is that the more I had to do, I found the tedium of having to like set up my 2 to 3 cameras, recording footage, sitting in the caravan, and then looking through the footage. Oh, I don't see the squirrel. Oh, but I barely saw it in the frame of like camera 2. Then I have to exit the van, which then starts the next day, and there's no penalty for how many days it takes you.
Okay.
Going back out in the field,
I have to readjust all your stuff.
Yeah, I have to reset up the camera that I saw the squirrel, but then I have to set up my other 2 cameras where I think the squirrel might have gone or where it might have gone or be at. Go back to the caravan, rewatch the footage. Oh, I don't see it again. I have to go back out, readjust the cameras, and it's that concept is very fun, but the longer you do that, it kind of starts being like, okay, like I saw the squirrel in like this frame of like 1 camera. Then you have to adjust everything. You have to keep removing them, and it's
that makes
fine,
sense, yeah.
But it does get a little repetitive as you get farther. My only real complaint, and I mentioned this before, and I don't know if it's because I'm on the Switch, the controls, I almost feel like have slower or delayed inputs. So when you're in your caravan trying to rewatch the footage, you'll have the buttons of like pause, play, fast forward, end of tape, record, all your buttons. They're very small, and the analog stick isn't very good at precise movements. I had to move my sensitivity down to the very bottom to try to get more precise movements. But some areas, the game does suffer from a lot of frame dips. Even in level 1, if you pan the camera where there's a bunch of trees, you do get some like hiccups in the frame rate. And the biggest offender of this is level 3. Level 3 is this big swamp area, and I kid you not, whether you're in the caravan, outside the caravan, no matter where you are, unless you're looking straight down at the water, the frame rate lags like nobody else.
Ooh,
and
that's no good.
Yeah, and like it sucked too because that was probably my second favorite aesthetically looking level. Bless you. That was probably the second best looking level of the game, but it had the worst frame rate. And that level, in my opinion, has the most strict requirements of surveilling the squirrels back and forth. So having to do minor adjustments in that level where the frame rate's pretty bad definitely ruined the gameplay for the second half of the game for me, where I was kind of dreading every level afterwards. But the next level, the frame rate still had some dips, but not very many. I think after level 3, only level 4 had a couple, and then level 6 had quite a few. But other than that, level 1 was fairly smooth, level 2 was smooth, and level 5 was pretty good too. So the gameplay is really good. I don't know if it's better on the PC or on mobile, but on the Switch, it definitely suffers frame dips. But other than that, I mean, there's not much story.
Making me interested, though.
Yeah, it's honestly like I would suggest checking it out, because if you enjoyed Firewatch, this will be a pretty good game to check out, because it is very similar to it with a different take on it. But maybe try it on PC or mobile, because Switch, I mean, I only played it in dock mode, so maybe it's better in handheld mode somehow. I'm not sure. I haven't tested that yet, but yeah, in dock mode on Switch, I can't recommend that one.
Let me ask you this: did you use a Pro controller?
I did.
Okay, because I've had issues with my Pro controller as well, and it feels like things are lagging. And then I picked it up in handheld, and it worked perfectly fine.
See, but I don't think it's my Pro controller, because specifically in level 3 as well, this is the only major issue I have with the game. So when you do certain parts of the game, you'll get a phone call from your boss, your AI, I guess your story interaction. Mm-hmm. I had moments where I had to fax a photo to my boss, and it would like lag from grabbing the photo to setting it down, and then the phone would ring every time you fax a photo, no matter if it's required or not. It would ring so you get some dialogue. Right. But I would fax the photo, pan my camera to the phone, and at one point I saw it ring, like I saw it move, and I saw the notification, but I had no audio. I picked up the phone, and I saw subtitles, but I heard there was no dialogue for a minute because the game was lagging so hard. And that was in level 3. So I don't think it's my Pro controller. I think it was because that level 3, I have like a little video on it later where I kind of show some of my gameplay, so you can see it there on either the Whatnauts or wherever I post it. But yeah, like I don't think it was my Pro controller. I might try it tonight or tomorrow in handheld mode and probably, give some kind of update or something. But yeah, the dock mode on Switch is not the best version, so it might be better on PC. But the game is still great. I would recommend checking it out. The art style alone is really pretty to look at, and the novelty of just chilling and videotaping squirrels is oddly kind of relaxing.
Good stuff. So
I liked it.
The game came out February 4th, so it was like 2 days ago from us recording this. It's very $20, but it is also available on Apple Arcade. It's on Switch. It's on Steam. It's on itch.io, as well as the Humble Store. So lots of places you can pick it up, do all of that stuff. Thank you, man. Thanks for checking that one out and giving us your thoughts on that.
It's really cool seeing a world where squirrels are endangered.
Right, yeah.
So, yeah.
Right. Let's see here. I guess that brings us to housekeeping. I don't know why our jingle just messed up. I don't know if it just like... Oh, see, what? No, I did the second half of that.
What'd you do?
Try that one more time here. It's time for housekeeping.
Hey.
Nailed it on 2. Okay. If you guys did not know, we have multiple podcasts here at the Whatnauts. You guys can find out more information on our website, which is thewhatnauts.com, as well as your favorite podcasting platform of choice. Just type in the Whatnauts and all of our shows will pop up right there. If you like what we do, patreon.com/thewhatnauts is where you can support us for as little as $1 a month. We do have a $3 tier where you guys can get all kinds of exclusive content, including our 2021 video game fantasy draft, which is finally recorded and up on our website. So if you are a $3 patron or above, you can sign in to our members only section on the website and get access to that. I think that one was a lot of fun. We're going to be checking in on that throughout the year as well. And we have a little bit of a bet going on.
Yep.
Winner's going to get some PlayStation gift cards or something. So,
and you won't believe Kyle's number one.
I mean, you won't believe
maybe you will. I don't know.
Whole lineup. Also, we totally recorded it just once.
Yeah, we only recorded it one time.
Recorded it once. We did not record it a second time because we definitely did not lose some of the audio files.
We never mess up. Never mess up.
Yeah.
But if anybody did, it may or may not have been Ignacio. But we only recorded one time, so that's just a hypothetical.
Exactly.
Next up, if you are a $5 patron, thank you so much. Thank you, Sam, for helping us out and supporting us for as long as you have. We appreciate it and we love you a lot. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you, Sam.
Much love.
Be on the lookout, because this weekend has been very busy for us here at Crossplay. Beyond this podcast, we have 2 interviews that we will be doing. We've already recorded one of them. We are going to release them as like separate special things that you guys can do. We got to talk to Joe Mirabello, the creative director of 3 out of 10 from Terrible Posture Games. That whole first season is free on the Epic Game Store, and it's a playable sitcom is how they describe it, and it follows a game studio that is just really bad, and they have not made a game that has scored above 3 out of 10. So you can play through all those sitcoms, and it's a blast. I had a lot of fun playing it. I thought it was hilarious. And stuff like that. And I know, Gino, you got to join me on that interview, and you played through most of them as well. So be on the lookout for that. Beyond that, our second interview, we are going to be sitting down with Michael Hyam from GameSpot, talking all about the Final Fantasy stuff. Gino, I know you'll have more to say on that in just a sec. So I won't say much more than that, but be on the lookout for that as well. And that's it. That is housekeeping. So I am going to do the next jingle to take us into the news.
All right, guys. So
Take it away, Gino.
We got some industry news. A lot of industry news happened this week. But before I go into the industry news, there's something that happened this past Friday that is very important to me and to millions of people around the world. And that is number 1, Final Fantasy XIV new expansion titled Endwalker has been announced. And this is slated for release sometime in the fall of this year, 2021. And of course, like you mentioned, Kyle, I will be talking with Michael Hyam all about that new expansion that they announced. But as with new expansion announcement, obviously they announced a new job, which is called a Sage, a healer class specifically, and they have another DPS class coming out that they have not announced yet, but they will be announcing sometime in May at the fan festival that they do every single year. Aside from that, new story stuff, new features, new locations, new raids, a whole bunch of stuff to look forward to, and a lot of news that I'll be going into with Michael in that interview. So I won't waste your time with that today. And a PlayStation 5, a PlayStation 5 native version coming as well. So that's exciting. That was their one last thing that they had to show at the announcement showcase. So super exciting. Nothing for Xbox yet though. Something that people are waiting for. But sucks for them. Sucks to be them. Sorry to let you know.
No, okay. Gino.
Yes.
Gino, hi, Ignacio Crossplay here. I have a couple of questions. First one, do you need a subscription to play the game?
You sure do, my friend. 15. No, wait, actually, it is about 12 a month. 12 a month.
But Gino, slap him with the demo. Just tell him the good news.
Oh yeah, exactly. Actually, so I am I inquire on Twitter for a few questions to ask Michael and myself. People are asking. A lot of people want to know if they should get into it or can they get into it. How do they get into it? So there is a free trial that everybody can try, free of charge, and it has a lot of the game for you to try. It'll take you months to get through, probably, depending how you play. So it has the entire base game and the first expansion that came out, entirely free of charge up to level 70, I believe. And after that, if you're interested, then you can start paying a monthly subscription for 3 more expansions now that they will have.
Wait, so the free trial is up to a certain level, not a certain amount of time?
It's up to a certain level and story, yeah. You don't have any time limit on it or whatever. You can download it for free of charge, up to level 70, the end of Heaven's Ward expansion, which is the first major expansion that released for the game. So a lot of content that you can do for free.
Yeah, for free. It's free. It's free real estate, baby.
Yeah.
My second question, I know you'll tomorrow get more into the details with Michael Heim. My second question is, what's the gameplay of it? Is it more like 15, more like the old games, or more like 10?
No, so
or like an MMO.
Yeah, 14 is its own unique game. Not at all similar to any of the other Final Fantasy games. I guess 12 is the most similar you can compare it to.
Yeah, that would be the one that'd be like, it looks more like 12 and stuff like that. So
yeah, no, 12 was not online. Well, 11 actually is the other MMO. So obviously they're the most similar to each other. That was the other. But this is what people refer to as a tab targeting MMO. So you have your basic attack that you're not really doing most of the time. You have all your skills, which are called job actions. And as you level up, you unlock new job actions. If you've ever played an MMO, the traditional ones, that is exactly what this is. It's very polished, very beautiful. I have to say one of the best Final Fantasy stories out of all of them, because it brings in qualities from every single Final Fantasy game that anybody has played. So it's incredible. Most similar to World of Warcraft in gameplay, if anyone has played that.
Got it.
So yeah,
good stuff.
A typical MMO.
Cool.
But that all of that I'll be talking about. Look out for it in that episode with Michael Hyam.
Nice.
So
no further questions.
Yes, excellent. Let's move on to number 2, my friends.
No further questions, Your Honor.
Embracer Group to acquire Gearbox. This is from Matthew Handrahan over at GamesIndustry.biz. Embracer Group has made its most significant acquisition to date with a $1.3 billion deal for Borderlands developer Gearbox Entertainment. That figure was given as the maximum value of the transaction, which will see the Texas-based company become a wholly owned subsidiary of Embracer Group. Gearbox Entertainment's 550-person team will join the Swedish group's 5,500-strong workforce. Gearbox co-founder Randy Pitchford will remain head of the company when the deal completes. And 2K Games has released a statement clarifying that its relationship with Gearbox and status as the publisher of Borderlands remains unaffected by Embracer's acquisition. So when I heard this, it made me think of one thing, my friends. And obviously I want to hear your guys' opinion. But it made me think of Insomniac and what a steal that was for PlayStation at 220 million around there. The fact that this deal was 1.3 billion for Gearbox, which, I mean, obviously, no offense to them, they're great, but I think Insomniac's better.
Now, it is worth mentioning, you actually read it there, that figure has an asterisk. It's dependent on their financials, on how Gearbox does, I think, for a period of 6 years. That's the highest amount. I didn't put there the starting.
That makes sense. That makes sense. And I think it was Embracer Group, and I think they also acquired like one or two other companies with this. And Gearbox is just the one that's like, oh, that's the one you guys will recognize from Borderlands.
Yeah.
So
yeah, they bought a couple of other developers, but I mean the big story here is that Embracer just keeps on getting bigger and bigger.
They're huge.
Yeah. Embracer, if you don't know, is the parent company of THQ Nordic.
And of so many others.
Yeah. So many others.
Yeah, the weird thing to me is, like, we've heard all the stories of them buying up these companies and these parent companies and this and that. It still seems like to me they've barely put out any games. They've put out a few, but none that have really made a big splash. And so I'm just mystified as to how they have all of this money.
Yeah.
How can they keep buying studios and be this big? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I want to understand what their end game is, what the plan is, what there, because it doesn't seem to be. There isn't any sort of tactic that they are employing. They're just buying random studios that have nothing in common with each other. So it's weird to see what they're doing. Interesting.
Yeah. Weird stuff.
The only different thing there with Kyle, what you were talking about, is that Gearbox is already an established studio. They have already put out games like Borderlands 3 most recently.
Yeah.
So I'm sure that they'll keep out pumping games at the same rate for them.
Yeah.
But yeah, now Embracer Group has been purchasing up more IP, more and more IP, and opening up more and more studios, and also purchasing studios. So yeah, it is. The Embracer Group is kind of an intriguing company as to how they're making all the money that they, or where they're getting all the money that they are using to make all those purchases.
Yeah. Very interesting stuff. But good for them, I guess. It's a great deal. So we'll see what comes out of that. But let's move on, my friends, to number 3. Google Stadia shuts down internal studios, changing business focus. This is from Stephen Totilo over at Kotaku. Google will close its 2 game studios located in Montreal and Los Angeles. Neither had released any games yet. That closure will impact around 150 developers, one source familiar with Stadia operations said. The company says it will try to find those developers new roles at Google. Google will continue to operate the Stadia gaming service and its $10 monthly Stadia Pro service. The company plans to begin offering its Stadia tech to publishers, opening up the possibility for Stadia to become the streaming tech for other video game companies. Google's head of Stadia operations, longtime console executive Phil Harrison, will focus on pursuing these new partnerships. So, not a surprise at all.
Not really to people like us. I definitely was not surprised. And I think this is the thing that a lot of people were fearing. right? Of just like, it's Google. They're going to announce this big thing and they're going to make a big deal out of it. And then they're just going to start shutting it down.
Yeah. Then that happened. Just kind of what Google does.
Yeah.
Yeah, doesn't Google have a Google graveyard website or something like that?
Oh, they should. They for sure could fill up a graveyard now.
I always like to remember I always like to go back and remember the Google glasses. That was going to be like the big thing.
Yeah. My boss had a pair of those. I was just like, this is weird, man. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a shame that Google is doing this because, as we all know, what Google does is that they put out something out there, but they don't actually put much behind it. Like Google, the problem with Stadia was that Google just put it out there and basically threw it into the sea and to see if it would float or not, instead of trying to build a raft for Stadia.
But if you remember too, Stadia also had a really, really rough launch though too. Yeah. Not just them throwing it out there. Like Stadia had like a bad launch.
But Google have made several promises for Stadia, which weren't there at the beginning. That was a problem, that Stadia launched without so many promised features and so many features that people would have taken for granted for a new, let's call it a new console, quote unquote, since it's not a console, but that's a problem, that Google put it out there in a state that wasn't gonna, already in a bad shape, and then after that they didn't seem to be putting much effort into building it up, which is a shame, because I still feel that Google, if anyone was gonna crack it, if anyone was gonna do it well, it could have been Google. I said it before several times, we take YouTube for granted. We take streaming at 1080p 4K at without much buffering. If you go to any other video player, that's not what you would get. And so I was counting on Google to at least try, because they could have made it work, and especially for me specifically, and those of us around the world outside the US, Google would have been able to take it worldwide, because Google has servers everywhere, as opposed to Microsoft and Sony. Yeah. It is a shame that they didn't put much work into it.
The thing about this is that they treated the Stadia as sort of the future of gaming, streaming, pretty much, as the future of video games. And I'm hesitant to accept that, because this obviously requires you to have internet, and not just internet, but great internet all the time. So, cloud playing a game through the cloud is fun and all, but eventually I'm gonna want to have to download it to play offline, or if I'm traveling somewhere, being able to play it like that. So, streaming has its pros, has its cons, but to me specifically has more cons than just being able to download your game. So the fact that they solely focused on streaming at this time, with new consoles coming out and all that stuff, it just was bad timing for them. So we all saw it coming.
It makes me worry too, because I think now that they don't have as much skin in the game, them focusing on third-party developers and working on deals and stuff to get things on Stadia, I don't see that going as well as they had maybe hoped if they did have hey, we also have an exclusive game, right? Like I see Microsoft with Game Pass and their X Cloud, which is I think still in beta, if I'm not mistaken. Could be wrong, but it's been doing a lot better, and I think they announced that Game Pass Ultimate was also going to include X Cloud stuff. So I think we see, even though it's a smaller company, we see someone like Microsoft doing this better. And PlayStation is a lot smaller than Microsoft, but PlayStation Plus is still decent, right? And they have PlayStation Now as well, which is their streaming thing. which I know a lot of people like to hate on, but people still
I tried it out.
use it.
It works fine. I don't know why people give it shit. It does work.
People still use it just fine, and I don't see there being a space for a third person.
Well, even if you discount just the streaming thing, like when it was just the Stadia console, like it's tough to try to get out there because you're competing against PlayStation, Xbox, and Nintendo, and like they're all on like their top game right now with consoles.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Kyle, I don't necessarily agree as to the future success or failure of Stadia now that Google said that they would start giving the tools to other people, because it could still fail. Of course, it's Google. I mean, we'll see how much they put it back behind it. But I think that they could succeed on that front because we have seen more and more companies getting into the streaming wagon. We saw, like Kyle, you just got an invitation for
Amazon Luna,
Amazon Luna. Ubisoft, was it Ubisoft? Did they have their own thing, or were they also a part of Luna?
They did for a while, but yeah, they do have like so I guess for Amazon Luna, it is you pay like a small subscription each month, and then there is a Ubisoft package that you can get. That's a little bit it was extra, right? It's like, hey, I pay for Hulu, but now I want to get the HBO package, right?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking about. But other than that, I still feel like there are still more and more people getting involved into it. And like we've seen with the streaming services for movies and series, how everyone seems to be jumping into it. I feel like we are in the beginning of it for video games. And so I think Stadia can live as simply tech and not the Stadia brand, unfortunately.
I gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, I do also want to mention that Stephen Totillo, who wrote this, announced that he was leaving Kotaku this past week. He has been one of the top players at Kotaku for quite a while now.
Yep.
So hats off to him.
Good luck to the future. All right. Let's move on. Number 4, my friends. Let's talk about the Nintendo Switch sales. This is from Christopher Dring over at GamesIndustry.biz. The Nintendo Switch has shipped 79.87 million units and sold to consumers 74 million. The console is currently Nintendo's 5th best-selling machine behind the Nintendo DS, which sold 154 million, the Nintendo Wii, which sold 101.6 million, the Game Boy, which sold 118.7 million, and the Game Boy Advance, which sold 81.5 million. 532.34 million Switch games have been sold since its release in March 2017. The sales figures are part of the company's latest financials for the 9 months ending December 31st, 2020. Where the firm has already hit its annual net sales target of 1.4 trillion yen, which is $13.4 billion. Digital sales accounted for $2.4 billion of the revenue, a rise of 105% over the year before. So big year for Nintendo.
Huge.
Yeah, look at them go.
Yeah. Yeah, and digital sales, do they normally talk about this? Is that
this is their financial disclosure as to their whole financial report for, like you said, the 9 months ending December 2020. That's why what I did here with the article from GamesIndustry.biz was that I took some bullet points from it in here. There was a lot of more information about the financials that came out of it.
Yeah.
But I thought that these ones were the most relevant to talk about.
Yep.
Usually we don't get the digital sales. Like when we do all the NPD numbers and stuff, they always have that asterisk of like, this is only the physical stuff. So the fact that it rose, right? Like what does it say?
Yeah.
Digital sales rose 105%.
Basically, it doubled.
Astonishing.
Yeah.
Basically doubled. Yeah. In that case, how we don't get those from the NPD because this is coming straight from Nintendo, what they're telling their shareholders. Whereas the NPD is a group that takes the information that the other companies are willing to give them.
Yep.
But it is huge that we've seen that this trend lately. Digital gaming is gaining up ground.
Yeah.
Like $2.4 billion from a total of 13.4. And that's about 20% of all of Nintendo, which I think it is a big number.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep.
Okay. So we also got PS5 sales, which they finally, they were holding out on this. I have no idea why, but we got some interesting bullet points here from Matthew Handrahan over at gamesindustry.biz. The PlayStation 5 has sold 4.5 million units in the holiday quarter, despite supply shortages making the hardware difficult to find. So this is a number that they had not released yet until recently, which is great. I mean, do you guys think they would have sold way more if there wasn't any shortages?
Oh, for sure.
Absolutely.
You just have to look at Twitter to see how many people are still thirsty for that.
If you go to like any link that somebody posts of like PS5s are back in queue, it's like so many replies of people like, oh, I got one. Oh, I didn't get one.
Yeah.
You know how Twitter will, if you go to the Discover tab, I think it is, will separate some tweets for different categories. Like there's one for PlayStation or PS5. Mm-hmm. That one, if you go there, is just people posting I'm getting info that a shipment will come tomorrow to Target.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. It's filled with people like that.
So the console is definitely on track to probably sell more than the PS4. So good for them.
Yeah, it is selling. I don't think I put it in here, but it is selling at a par to what the PS4 did when it came out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got some more interesting bullet points here. Sony's Game and Network Services division made an operating profit of $762 million, an increase of 27% year on year. And according to Sony, quote, strategic price points for PS5 hardware were set lower than the manufacturing costs, which means that the PS5 is being sold at a loss. So it's actually pretty common, correct?
Yes. Yeah, it is pretty common. I don't think that it is the same margin that we saw for previous consoles. Like, if I'm not mistaken, the PS3, they sold it with a $200 loss on each console.
Oh, oui.
Whereas for here, we got numbers at the beginning of last year that were somewhere around 450 for the manufacturing cost. I'm guessing now with this information that the number is actually higher than that, since the PS5 is selling for 500.
Yeah.
Although it could still be that because we all know that the PS5 digital is selling for 400, which is $100 less than the regular one, and I doubt that a disk drive costs that much.
Yeah.
So it could be that the digital edition is selling at a loss.
I think that it's at $11, something like that, for the disk drive.
Yeah, it isn't much.
Yeah.
So it could be that the PS5 digital is selling at a loss, because with the numbers that we got at the beginning of the year, it would be at a cost.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, I mean, it doesn't matter to them that they're selling at a loss because the majority of their revenue still came from software.
Yep.
The division earned 433 billion yen, which, do you guys know what that is in dollars? I looked up
not
here.
off the top of my head.
Like 66. What is that? 66? Is that trillion? That's not trillion. There's no way, dude. There's no way it's trillion. Whatever. So that's 433 billion yen. from digital software, which is an increase of 42% over the prior year. Within that, only 51 billion yen was made from physical game sales, with the remainder coming from digital downloads, which is 176 billion yen, and add-on content, 256 billion yen. I think this is dollars. If I'm not.
No.
It's yen? It's yen? Okay.
It would be million
it's yen.
dollars.
It's yen.
Okay.
Yeah, because if you see there, $80 billion was what Sony's Game and Network division made, which is $762 million. 80 billion yen, $762 million.
Interesting. Because back at Nintendo, I said 256 million yen was $204 billion. What's with the math, my friends here? Anyway, they made a lot of money.
I'm an art student, so I don't do math.
I'm just a gamer, so if these were RPG stats, I got you covered. But I never had 433 billion yen in a video game.
Yeah, I think it might be dollars in billion. It's $433 billion.
No, I think there might be a typo on the Switch sales, because it says for digital sales accounted for 256 million yen.
Yeah,
$2.4 billion.
Yeah,
it cannot be that. It should be a higher number for
because looking at the conversion rate, 433 billion yen is like
66
shit ton of US dollars.
No, it's a low number for dollars.
That's weird. I mean, doesn't make sense here on Google. Okay, anyway, they made a lot of money on software.
Let me look it up.
Is what we're getting here. Even though the consoles are being sold at a loss, they make the majority of their money from downloads and all kinds of software. So good for them. PlayStation 5 is rapidly selling. Still hard to find. How long do you guys think it'll be hard to find?
I'm gonna say till like July of this year. I feel like once summer comes to an end.
Well, one of the reasons that it is hard to find is they're having problems manufacturing them because of the chips. And the chip manufacturer for the PS5, the company CEO, I think, came out to say that the shortage will continue for a good amount of time.
Yeah. So good luck to all those people still trying to get a PS5 or a Series X. Power to you.
Mad respect.
And that is it for the news, my friends.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Well, that means we can get on to our new and notable section.
All right.
Alan,
well,
for new
and notable, we don't have too many on here, but Little Nightmares 2 is coming out February 11th for pretty much most everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that's coming out real soon. Less than a week away, 5 days away as of recording. We have Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury available the day after on February 12th.
Oh,
people are very excited for that game.
Cannot wait.
MLB The Show 21 is coming to PS4 and PS5, as well as Xbox One, Series X, and S on April 20th.
That's pretty big.
That's going to be an interesting one, because that's a PlayStation Studios.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a photo of the Xbox cover art that has the PlayStation Studio logo on it.
Yeah, because it is made by a Sony studio.
Man.
Sony San Diego, I think it is, who makes it.
I think we're living in the fun timeline.
And that PlayStation Studio splash screen is also going to show up when they boot up the game.
Oh, wow, yeah.
Now, when people saw this, everyone jumped into thinking, oh, what else could Sony bring to the Xbox? It's not that. It's clear that the MLB must have come to Sony and told them, if you want to keep the license, you have to put the game on Xbox too. I 100% doubt Sony wanted this.
I love being able to play a PlayStation game on my Xbox.
Yeah, I might get it for that, to see that PlayStation Studios logo when I boot up the game.
Just for that, you put it up. Well, I sign up.
You specifically buy MLB for the Xbox just so you can see the PlayStation logo boot up. You're like, yes.
And then out of there.
Yeah.
Well, I have to give you guys the bad news, because the news that came out that everyone got excited about that did nothing for me at all was the Mass Effect Legendary Edition is launching on May 14th.
I'm excited to play this for the first time.
I've never played it, and I don't think I will.
I might play it for the first time. I don't know.
Yeah.
Wow, none of us here have played this game before.
Wow.
I've played a little bit of the first one, but not enough to really say anything. I think I did like half an hour on that first game. So
nice.
I played
Man.
I played the demo for 3 and I didn't like the gameplay.
Man, I thought I was letting you guys down. Turns out all of us were letting everyone else down.
Oh yeah, I mean,
our gamer cards have been revoked.
This is a very important game to a lot of people.
Here's a few more details for those of you guys wanting to know some more info, because this is pretty big news in the gaming industry. It says it includes all the games with over 40 DLCs. Apparently, there has been one that they just lost the source code to. So unfortunately, there's one that won't make it in there, but it's going to be in 4K with HDR. They have overhauled visuals and enhanced performances, new models, shaders, effects, lighting, and depth of field, improved customization. FemShep will now be available in all 3 of the games, not just the third one. They've rebalanced the weapons and improved the Mako controls. They've gotten a bunch of the load times down. They had one example that was like, hey, we got this one load time down from 52 seconds down to 14. So, yeah, there's lots of exciting stuff around that game coming on. Or coming down the road. So if you're a Mass Effect fan, lots to be excited about.
It's funny that you mentioned they lost a DLC with the source code or something. It reminds me, I think I heard on this podcast that they announced I think Mega Man games for newer consoles. I forgot what console, what generation it was, but they had announced the remakes of 3 Mega Man games, and then later on, a few months after they announced it, they were like, hey, we're gonna have to cancel it because we lost the files. so like,
right, yeah,
like that's crazy how that happened. Like we mentioned this with Cyberpunk. What if they just lose everything?
Yeah.
Well, sadly, guys, our last new notable is not good news. The Prince of Persia: The Sands of Time remake is delayed again, but this time to a quote later date.
Man,
and
what's happening with that game?
Why can't they just like rewind time and this time develop the game better? Faster?
You already know game development is a very tricky thing. You know, it's difficult.
Yeah. Nah, man, they just have to change it from .ps2 to .ps5.
I would just quote and say that, you know, a delayed game is better than a non-delayed game, but then there's Cyberpunk, so, you know, a delayed game could be, it's Russian roulette at this point.
That's true.
I'm a big fan of the Prince of Persia series, so I'm super excited about this. But yeah, when they announced this and we saw the trailer, it didn't look like a remake.
It looked like a remaster.
Yeah, and so I think that may be part of it. It might still be COVID. We don't know exactly. So yeah, I do hope this ends up in a much better version of that game, because I love this series and I want this to be good.
Yeah.
Well,
I guess we'll see.
We had to end on a delay because we can't escape the hell that is video game delays. But that actually wraps up our new and notables. Things coming out, new announcements, and one delay. You know, one delay is not that bad. At least it's not several.
Not bad at all.
Yeah.
Not bad at all.
It's a win. It's a win.
Sure, if you call that a win.
Well, let's get on to our lightning round.
All right, speed's the game. Go for it.
So last week we talked about Apple maybe doing a VR headset. Now we know that it could cost about $3,000.
Yeah, $3,000.
Yeah, and it would include 8K displays. clearly, this is not going to be a consumer product necessarily. It will be, of course, a high-end product, similar to the HoloLens for Microsoft. Also, it will not only be VR, but also augmented reality again, like the HoloLens. Next up, Resident Evil animated movie is coming out on September 3rd, 2021, this year.
Is that the animated one?
Yep.
It says
it's
animated
not the
movie.
Resident Evil origin story film.
Yeah, it's not the Mila Jovovich movie.
Oh, thank God.
Good.
No, that series has ended. It's done.
Yeah, this one looks
Yeah,
good.
it is the Cowboy you said. It's I think both Resident Evil 1 and 2 made it a movie.
It's Claire and Leon, right? Or
yeah,
right?
I think
it's Claire and Leon. Claire and Leon is Resident Evil 2. Chris and Jill is Resident Evil 1.
I think it is both 1 and 2. I might be wrong.
Cool.
Sadly, Bethesda's founder and CEO Robert Altman has passed away at the age of 73.
Ooh, 37, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah,
73. Wow. Yeah, it's sad.
Big loss.
Well,
big loss.
Rest in peace, Robert Altman.
Another different sad news. Different type of sad news. No Diablo 4 or Overwatch 2 this year. I mean, sad news for someone out there, not me. I don't care about it.
Yeah, not me either.
That one's a little bit to be expected. I think they announced these to kind of put the whole Blitzchung thing under the rug and be like, oh, Overwatch 2! You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't
know. Next, Sony takes stake in From Software parent company Kadokawa. I don't know how much stake they put into there or not. I don't think it's much, though. And finally, EA Sports College Football is back, and with it brings a lot of controversy.
Yeah, that there's kind of like there is stuff you can unpack with this and speculate on. I'm not a big sports fan. I don't really know exactly how all the NAACP stuff works. I know that I think it's great to have the college football games back. I hope that one day soon they can use the likenesses of the actual players and actually pay them and stuff like that. I think that would be wonderful.
Yeah, because the news is that they will have the teams in there, but they won't use the likenesses of any of the players.
Yeah,
which is
the generic football team.
Yeah, because I know there's some problems with the. I don't know who oversees the college football stuff, but they've had a lot of problems with them not paying their players. And also, I think the last time that EA Sports had a college football game, there was a lawsuit regarding likenesses of one of the players. So
that's
to me,
why it all stopped.
This could either be that's that body that oversees the college football telling them not to, or it could also be EA not wanting to get into any trouble.
I think it's more so the latter, but I know just kind of in the world of college sports, they are trying to challenge that whole thing of like, hey, why can't we pay them? And I think in the next year or two, like we might start seeing that change is kind of word on the street. So I think, they're just, for right now, they at least have to announce, we're just going to use generic football team number 1 and generic football team number 2,
But if I'm not mistaken, you can customize your players, so you could still put them in there if you want to.
Sure,
just it will not be official.
There you go.
Yeah, that's it.
That is the lightning round. Good stuff, guys. This was a good one. Good podcast.
Nice.
Yes.
Well, let's do what we normally do at the end of this stuff. What are you guys excited for? Ignacio, let's start with you. What are you looking forward to doing this week?
Finally, I'll be able to play Super Mario 3D World. Finally coming out on Switch. It is, I think, the Wii U game that I have been wanting to be ported to the Switch the most. I really like Mario. I love Mario. I love platforming. And also, I played 3D Land on the 3DS, and I think that's a pretty fun game. And from what I've seen from 3D World, it seems like it's gonna be a lot more fun. And also Bowser's Fury, from what they've said, from people who have played it have said, it sounds pretty cool what they're doing.
Yeah.
So I'm excited for that one on Friday.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Gino, what about you, my friend?
For the rest of the year, we'll be excited for the new expansion of Final Fantasy that's going to be coming out. So if you want to hear me say that every single week,
here on out, he's just going to be like, I've been playing Final Fantasy 14. And it's like, we know, Gino, God, fuck.
So I'm excited for that, as I will be for the rest of the year until it comes out. I'm also excited for Little Nightmares 2, which comes out on Friday, I believe, or Thursday. So excited to play through that. And I am excited for you guys to see the stuff we're working on. For everyone to check us out. It's got some good stuff coming your way, so please be on the lookout for all of that.
Be on the lookout for Gino's interview.
Yes.
Or discussion.
Very excited for that.
Alan, what are you excited for?
Well, like Gino, I'm actually very excited for Little Nightmares 2 coming out on the 11th. I plan on streaming that game on Friday. Maybe myself, maybe me and my girl who's scared of scary games. So we'll see how that works. Other than that, I didn't mention it, but I'm playing Demon's Souls, so I'm excited to play more of that because it's tougher than I expected it to be. And I'm also excited for Mario 3D World, but I'm not sure if I'm going to pick that up on launch day because I got Little Nightmares 2, so, Damn.
Also, you gotta be excited for Yakuza 0. I don't know if we'll be streaming it this week or not.
I'm still playing Yakuza 0. I'm making lots of money. You should come to my stream and hang out because I am only 11 followers away from affiliate. And you could come hang out and make fun of the game, chat with me, or we can make fun of whatever we want. We can have a good time.
Hey.
We can make fun of Gino if that's what you want to do. We can do whatever you want. Whatever you want to do. I'm cool with it, man. It's all good. Hey.
All right. This week, what am I excited for? I am continuing to watch The Sopranos. I'm midway in season 3. That's been really, really cool. I'm not playing too much. I like I said, I think I might dip back into the medium just to see if it improves. But yeah, I'm also excited for this discussion with Michael Hyam that we are recording tomorrow. That's going to be really fun. It's going to be a one-on-one. It's Gino and Michael.
Hey.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun. I'll be creeping in the background, making sure everything is recording and all of that stuff. But yeah, I'm excited for that. I'm excited for our interview with Joe Mirabello to go up and for you guys to see and watch and hear all of that stuff. Exciting things are happening, man.
Yep.
Exciting things are happening, indeed. Okay. Ignacio, where can they find you on the internet?
Well, people can find me on Twitter at Ignacio Rojas B. That's IGNACIOROJASB.
There you go. And Gino?
Nice. You guys can find me over on Twitter at Gino_Viteri. And you can also find me on Twitch. Let me plug that. Twitch, Gino VII. I actually reacted to the Final Fantasy 14 announcement showcase. I just did it out of the blue, decided let me get in front of the camera and react to this. I cried, I screamed, I yelled, and I showed my sword. So, my actual sword. Not
that a euphemism?
Not what you... No. My sword. It's a dagger, actually.
No. You have to leave that for interpretation. What sword did Gino show? Yeah. You might have to watch his video, his past broadcast, and find out.
So check that out. Gino VII.
There you go. And Alan.
Well, I could plug my Twitter as well. You can follow me at Alan Busby. That is AlanBusbee. But you can also check me out Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays at Twitch. At twitch.tv/AzurePKK. Azure the color blue and PKK.
Nice.
There you go. If you guys want to find me, I am at YoKyleSpringer on Twitter and Instagram. You guys want to stay up to date with our shows, we are at the Whatnauts on Twitter. So go like, share, subscribe, sell your soul, tell a friend, tell a foe, do whatever you need to do to help us spread the word. Catch us on Wednesdays, Whatnauts Wednesdays, on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/the Whatnauts. We'll be streaming some games. I'm not sure what we'll be up to this week, but one of us,
we
maybe
already know.
two
We
of
already
us
know.
will be up there. I guess we already know.
We already got a plan,
0?
Kyle. Don't worry about it.
Oh, okay. There we go.
Are we playing
I'll
this
sit
week?
back and let you guys.
Oh yeah.
Take over.
Ignacio, I'm on chapter 6.
There we go.
We're gonna be doing the big shit on Wednesday.
Sounds good.
Nah.
Yakuza 0 on Wednesday. That sounds like what we will be playing and stuff like that. So be on the lookout for that. If you like what we do here at Crossplay or any of our other podcasts, please go rate and review us on Apple Podcasts or Google Play or wherever you get them, because that would help us out a ton, especially since we're smaller creators just trying to get by. So there you go.
Also,
that's it.
Check out our merch store. We haven't plugged that one in a long time.
What?
We haven't. I am working on new shirts and stuff, so they should be out very
We
soon.
haven't talked about it in a very long time.
I knew we had merch because Kyle was wearing the badass Crossplay shirt when we streamed, so he told me about it, and I was like, damn.
Yeah.
What was it?
You guys can go get some merch. Whatnauts.com/store. You are correct, Ignacio. Yeah, and I'm working on some new shirts. We have an inside joke, the "Oh Ding Dang" shirt, which is Melissa's favorite cuss word. Will be up on there because we also have that as one of our emotes on Twitch. So
nice.
There you go.
Nice.
Now, friends, the trick is if you buy a shirt, you could buy 2 shirts. If it's cold where you live, buy multiple shirts because then you can wear layers and stay warm.
You can also just buy a hoodie.
You can buy 3 shirts
if you want that.
You could also buy a hoodie
and a mug for your hot chocolate, right?
Yeah.
On a phone.
There you go.
Buy a shirt and a hoodie. Be warm.
Exactly. But that's it. That wraps us up for this week. We will see you all next week. Bye.
See you guys.
Bye.